Hey everyone, welcome back to my Ice Loom kitchen, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this banana split ice loom sundae. So click on the recipe link below to get to the recipe page to check out the number of bands needed for this creation. After that, come back and let's begin. So before we get started with the banana split, we need to pre-make the 4 sliced bananas that go on the ends. So if you could get your loom, I'm using the illuminator, but you could use a regular loom and the offset configuration. Get 2 yellow bands, go down the first row, five times, then next 2 from this peg to the second row, then again go down 2 bands, 5 times, then take 2 bands and go from this peg down here, then 2 bands, just 3 times down, then 2 to close this area off, and another 2 to close the other side. Now you need cross bands. Go from here, make a triangle in this area, and then 1 band, go around twice to cap that off. Then get your hook, go through that cap band, and pick up the first 2 bands and hook it onto itself. Mine happens to be the ones that come from the right. Go in again, pick up the next 2, and these go to the left. The lower 2 straight up. Now we're going to loop everything up on this side first. Go in, pick up the lower 2 bands, now in the center. Now on the last row, then pick up the lower 2 bands here and loop it all the way up to that center top peg. Pick up the last 2 lower bands and hook it up into the last peg. Now you can Help everything off the loom. Then on the very last peg, put your hook through, grab a single yellow band, and if you can just set that aside, you will need 4 of these banana slices. So pause your video, make 4 pieces, and come back when you're done and we can resume from there. So the next item we need to pre-make is the glass rim, and we'll be using 4 pegs on 1 row, and you'll be using 6 bands total. So you get the glass colored bands that you're using, and for my banana split today I'll be using clear bands mixed with frosted white. So you start off with 1 glass band, and then 2 glass bands, then another 2, then you get the last single one, wrap it around once as a cap band, put your hook in, pick up the lower 2, lift it up and over, and the last, and just lift that up. And you'll have this. You'll be needing 26 pieces of this chain. So if you create 26 pieces, just set them aside on a holding hook, and we'll get back to it as soon as we need it. So let's start with our banana split, and you'll need your regular loom. Remove the center row, and if you could have the remaining 2 rows facing on opposite directions. I have my front row facing to the right and my back row facing to the left. You'll need your loom hook, and if you have a crochet hook, it'll come in handy. Let's start with the cherry and the whipped cream tops for all 3 scoops. Get your hook and get 2 cherry bands. Wrap it around your hook twice. Now get 2 whipped cream bands. Pull those cherry bands over, and then place that on the 3rd peg. X across that way. Get another 2. Wrap twice. 2 whipped cream bands. And same, but this time on the 3rd to the last. Now you're going to get 1 last. Same process. and you're going to place that on the center. That way. Now you're going to get 2 whipped cream bands and slip your hook through the red cherry bands of the first. Pull those 2 bands through. Place one here, cross here. Do the same for all 3. Now you're going to take 2 bands and go around the 4 pegs. And you're going to lift all the lower 2 bands up and over. So there should be 4 bands on these 4 pegs. I'll show you what to do on this top, and it's exact same process for the remaining 2. So you have 4 bands around the 4 pegs, and we're going to now we're going to extend it to 6. So take 2 bands and exit across. Take another 2. Two bands and exit out here. Exit out there. Push everything down. Now we're going to lay 2 bands around the 6 pegs. Now we're going to lift all the lower bands up and over, and you should only be left with 4 bands on each peg. Now we're going to do one more round on these 6 pegs. Lift the lower 4 bands up and over. And that's it for whipped cream number 1. So if you can pause your video and rewind, you'll just need to do the exact same thing to the next 2 cherry tops. After you're done with the 3 whipped cream tops, your loom should look this way. Now we're going to start with 2 ice cream flavors. Traditionally, banana splits are made with strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. So I'll be putting strawberry here and chocolate here, and we'll start by weaving those flavors in. So you start with the strawberry, you get 2 bands, exit out here, lift your whipped cream bands on the first peg, pull those strawberry bands through, put down, put the other end across up here, another 2, put one end on the previous peg and the other end replacing that peg. Next, one end on the previous peg and then replace that peg. Another 2 bands, go across here, another 2, X down, X across, lift up the whipped cream bands over here, pull those ice cream bands through, replace the peg with one end, put the other end down here, another 2, pick up those whipped cream bands, one end goes on the peg before and replace that peg. Last whipped cream set, pull it through, replace the peg, and the other end goes on the peg before it. Now you get your last 2 strawberry bands and exit out here. Now we're going to repeat that weaving of the flavor on this side with the chocolate. So you get 2 chocolate bands. Exact same process. I'm going to fast forward this a bit, so feel free to pause your video if you need to catch up. So we weaved the strawberry flavor and the chocolate flavor through, and now we're going to lay double bands all around the 10 pegs per flavor. Then we lift the lower 4 bands up and over. So we've finished round 1 for the strawberry flavor, and we're going to repeat that process of laying double bands around 10 pegs and lifting the lower bands up and over. This is the start of round 2. So pause your video, finish off 3 more rounds for a total of 4 rounds on the strawberry scoop. So yeah, I've just finished 4 rounds of the strawberry flavor, and at least this scoop should look a little bit that way. You can just pop the whipped cream with the cherry out. Now we're going to do the same for the chocolate area. This is the start of round 1, and we'll also need 4 rounds total for the chocolate scoop. So lay your bands around again, and after laying them down, lift the lower bands up and over. So pause your videos again and finish up 4 rounds of the chocolate flavor and unpause when you're done, and we'll resume from there. So we finished the strawberry scoop and the chocolate scoop of our banana split, and now we're going to begin with the vanilla. And for my vanilla flavor, I'm using mother of pearl bands. You could use yellow to you could use yellow for the vanilla, but if you could make it a different shade of yellow from the yellow you use for your banana slices, or if you could use a light beige from the skin tone pack, that would work as well. Now, since we need the 10 pegs here, but I don't want it to overlap yet with your existing 2 flavors, just lift the pink peg here, and if you could just temporarily place it on the peg on the side, as well as this. and the chocolate. Put it aside in the meantime. So now you have 10 pegs to work with for your vanilla flavor, and we do the same process. Weave in the color with 2 of your vanilla flavored bands. Now we're going to do the same as we did with the other 2 flavors. Lay 2 bands around and then lift the lower bands up and over after each round. And again, we're going to need 4 rounds. So pause your video. We're beginning round 1 and finish off 4 rounds for this flavor. Unpause when you're done and we'll resume from there. So now our vanilla flavor is done and we can bring back the strawberry and chocolate bands that we temporarily placed on the side. So pick those up and put those back. Be careful and make sure you hook all the loops back on. Now we're going to sort of anchor them down a bit by picking up the vanilla bands under those 4 pegs and lifting it up and over. So you're left with a strawberry here. Pick up the vanilla bands here and you're left with the chocolate here. And same on the other side. So you should have 5 pegs on your left with 1 flavor, either your chocolate or your strawberry, and 5 pegs on the other side with your chocolate or your strawberry, and only 3 in the center of your vanilla. So we're starting with the banana portion of our banana split, and I weaved in one side already of the banana bands. So I'll show you how to do this. You will only be weaving the banana bands on this side and the other side, and only from on these pegs right here. So to do this, you get 2 of your banana bands, and you pick up the ice cream bands on the second peg, pull those 2 bands through, replace that peg with one end of your banana bands, remove the banana bands from your hook, pick up the necks, and pull those 2 banana bands through those ice cream bands as well. It's only on the first one where they'll share the bands here. Then replace that peg with the other end of the banana bands. Then another 2 bands, pull them through. One end goes on the previous peg, other end replaces the peg you removed the ice cream bands from. Another 2. One end on the previous, then replace the peg with the other end. Now this is the last because we stopped on the second to the last peg. Push it down. So pause your video and repeat what I showed you just now on the other side. So now we're ready to add our banana slice. And if you look at our slice, there's a flat portion and the top portion curves down here. The flat portion should always be the bottom side. So we're going to add that on the third. That way. But we still need to anchor this down. So when this is down, you count the second chain here, grab 1 yellow band, pull that through, and place that band on that second peg. So you have one end of your banana slice on the third peg, and the additional single band that you added on one chain here goes on the second. Let's do it for the other side. Get your slice. Flat portion is the lower portion. Let's turn it this way. So this goes on the third peg. Like that. And now one chain here. Push a hook through. Single banana band. pull it through, and place that on the second peg, like that. So your banana slices should look that way. Now let's do it for the other side as well. Flat portion is the bottom. Let's put it here on the third peg. Now get a single band. Put your hook through that one chain and pull that single band through. And hook it on the second peg, like that. And for our last slice, flat portion on the bottom again. Oops. Goes on the third peg. Hook through one chain. Single banana band, pull it through. And place that single band on the second peg. Now let's continue laying down the rows for our bananas. And so you'll get 2 banana bands and just fill up the center pegs with double bands. Now when it comes to the edges, so for this side, put it aside here, whatever your flavor of your ice cream is here, mine is chocolate, so I get 2 chocolate bands. I put that there. Now for this, you get 1 chocolate and 1 banana band. First, you just drop the banana band there and get 1 chocolate band and stretch it across. Now you get that single banana band, pull it over, get your hook, pick up that end of your chocolate band and hook it onto itself. And now this single banana band, the other end goes here. So again, let's do it over here. Drop 1 yellow band, then stretch out the chocolate band, grab that band and pull it across. Pick up the chocolate band, hook it onto itself. Get the yellow band and put it back there. So you have like the crisscross area. Let's do it on the other side. I'm going to fast forward this a bit, so feel free to pause your video if you need to catch up. That way. So now you have that one row all around, and you're just going to lift all the lower bands up and over each peg. When lifting everything up and over, please note that the second to the last peg and the second peg on each side, you will only be lifting 2 bands or 2 rounds up and over, while every peg has 4 bands to lift up and over. So we finished one round of the banana layer, and we need to do one more round. So get 2 banana bands and fill in the pegs from here to here on both sides. Now we do the same transition areas on the sides. So now we're going to lift all the lower bands up and over, and this time every single peg you should be lifting 4 bands up and over. So that was round 2 of the banana layer, and sorry, we actually need one more round. So if you can pause your video and repeat that exact same round of the yellow bands from the second peg to the second to the last peg with the transitions on these last 2 areas and your flavors on the side. Unpause when you're done, and we'll resume from there. So we finished the 3 rounds of our banana layer. So your loom should look like this. And we are about to start weaving in our glass bands. So if you get 2 of your glass colored bands, I'm using clear, and I will be mixing in frosted or the glitter white bands after. Pick up the bands on the first peg, pull the glass bands through, replace that peg with one end of those glass bands, pull those glass bands off your hook, pick up the bands on the next peg, pull those glass bands through, and replace that peg with the other end of those glass bands. Now, again, this is the only area where these 2 pegs share the glass bands. Now you get another 2, pick up the next, Pull those through. One end goes in the previous peg, and the other end replaces that peg. And that's the same all around. So pause your video and finish up the same weaving technique all around. Unpause when you get to the end, and I'll meet you there. So after we've weaved the glass bands through, I've popped the ice cream scoops up a little bit because now we need to fix our banana slices. So your banana slices should be sticking out like this at the moment. So you take a slice, twist inside out that way, and take a hook and a single glass band, insert it into the chain closest to the peg, pull that single glass band through, and place it on that peg. So it makes the banana, gives the banana that smile at the edge. And let's do it to the other side. Take the banana slice, turn, single glass band, put it through. Sorry, I have to do it this way. I can't. And place that single band that you just pulled through over that peg. So you have these two bananas now anchored down, and they have that smile, and they should be sort of like closer together. Let's do the same this side. Slice, twist, push the hook through a chain, and place that single and just repeat that again for this side. So your split should look this way right now. So now we can attach our pre-made glass rim. So now all you have to do is take your glass rims, the chains we made earlier, and place them all around the 26 pegs. And after laying down all the glass rim edges, you're just going to take all the lower bands and lift them all up and over, leaving only 4 bands on each peg. So we finished lifting all the lower bands up and over. Now we're going to go through the same process, lay down double bands all around the 26 pegs. And after we lay them around, we're going to lift all the lower bands up and over again. And we're going to need a total of 3 rounds. So this is the start of round 1. Pause your video. Finish up 3 rounds on the 26 pegs and unpause when you're done, and we will resume from there. 3 rounds have been finished on these 26 pegs, and we're now going to decrease from 26 down to 24. So let's take this corner and separate the upper 2 bands from the lower 2. Pick up the other upper 2 bands, and the other end of these 2 bands are coming from here. So we'll move this opposite up here. Now we take the lower 2 and bring it back here. Now the other side, do the same. So let's separate those upper 2 from the lower 2 bands and pick up the upper 2 bands, and the other end is coming from here, so we bring it opposite here. Pick up the lower 2, bring it there. So we're down to 24 pegs, and same process. So pause your video, and we're going to need 3 rounds on these 24 pegs. Lay your bands around and lift the lower bands up and over. After you're done with 3 rounds, come back and we'll resume from there. 3 rounds done on 24 pegs, and so we're gonna decrease for the last time from here. Take the upper 2 bands, and the other end is coming from here, so we bring it here. Bring the lower 2 back here. Other side. Upper 2 bands comes from here, so bring it opposite here and lower 2 back here. So this is the last decrease, and we're going to get 2 bands again. Same process, lay them all around. But this time we're only going to need 2 rounds on these 22 pegs. So pause your video, finish off 2 rounds on these 22 pegs, unpause when you're done, and we'll finish this up. After the 2 rounds on these 22 pegs, we're going to do one last round but with single bands. Now we're going to lift all the lower bands up and over, leaving only 2 bands per peg. So let's get ready to seal this. We're going to start from this peg, but first we go to the peg across, separate the lower and the upper band, put your hook through, pick up the lower band, put it up and over to the first peg, put your hook through, push back those 2 upper bands and pick up the lower band and move it forward. All throughout, you'll just put your hook through, push back the upper bands and just pick up the lowest band and move it forward. For the last one, pick up the lower band, bring it back to the starting peg, put your hook through, grab a single band, and seal that off with a slip knot. And help your banana split off your loom. So one last step before we sew the bottom part shut, you can decide whether you want to stuff this banana split or not. It actually holds its own, but I prefer to stuff mine. So I'm going to put stuffing. So there. I think this is properly stuffed. So now let's just seal this bottom hole. We're gonna now sew the bottom portion together. Take your hook and make sure it goes through both ends, both sides. Get a single band, pull that through and create a slip knot. Let's just make this sewing band a little longer by adding another band on that end and creating another slip knot. Now we're just going to go to both sides and pull that sewing band through. Now once you're done, once you get to the end, just knot it off. Just reshape your creation, and that's it. So I hope you like it. Enjoy your banana split.